You, Dave, especially you. Martin, I need you to smile. And you're
I
going to
send in the
dance
feed.
with me during the opening.
A
Okay,
great show.
Jordan, let's do it. Thank you. Dance with me.
Welcome to Read My Lips Radio, a lively hour of unscripted conversations with savvy creatives.
Come on, Andrew, you
Producer
can
and
dance.
host, aka Radio Red, asks novelists, artists, photographers, designers, comedians, actors, musicians, composers, screenwriters, directors, and technology innovators about their creative passion, inspirational muses, and how they create. Ooh, how those lips can talk. Now, here's aka Radio Red.
Radio Red in the house. It's Monday. Where else would she be? That's me. Happy to be here. This is a show where I talk to creatives. A creative is anybody. You wake up, you're creative. How do you answer the phone? How do you get dressed? How do you decorate your house? What do you eat? How do you walk? Where do you go? How do you email? Everything is the creativity we create in our lives. It's not just singers and dancers and artists and photographers and writers, although I speak to those people too. I have three very interesting people. And as usual, I've met them at the National Publicity Summit a couple months ago, getting ready for another summit on the 21st of March. And I'll be introduced to and inviting probably another 35 guests on the show to fill a couple of months coming out. But I have three wonderful people today. And before I introduce them, and by the way, panelists, please wave hello to LinkedIn. Martin and Andrea, wave hello. And Dave, there you go. Two hands are good. We're waving hello to LinkedIn. We're waving hello to YouTube. We're waving hello to Facebook. There we go. And we're waving hello to Voice America, the Empowerment Channel. They're hearing you wave. Dave, I can tell they can hear the air moving. Before I say anything else, I want the three of you to make the sign of an L with one of your hands. I don't care which one, make the sign of an L. Martin, that's it. Martin, you're going to do that. And on the count of three, you're going to join me in saying hello, L, L, L. Just Andrea, keep your fingers up. There we go. On the count of three. 1, 2, 3. Hello,
Hello,
L,
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 L.
L.
Not bad. Pretty good. Can we do it one more time? 1, 2, 3. Hello, L,
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 L.
L.
We squeezed that one out. LLL is lovely, lanky Laura Legs. She's our most loyal listener. She lives in Whitestone, New York. And Martin, I've been trying to get her to move to a place that starts with L. And I thought of London, but it was too expensive. So I ended up in Loudon, Tennessee, and we might just invite her to move here with me. Laura listens to the show every Monday, and at 6:01 p.m. Eastern, she will email me and she will say, here's what Andrea said. Here's what Dave said. Here's what Martin said. And she'll give me a little book report on everything that you all say, just a little compressed one. And she'll call me, hello, beautiful, gorgeous lady of red. And she'll tell me what a great show it was. So you don't want to let her down. So I have an opening poem that I co-wrote with ChatGPT. It's AI plus human. And I'm going to read it for the opening. I do this for all my shows. And I want you all to wave furiously when I call your name. Okay, so here we go. Upon the Read My Lips stage with passions aglow, can you see I'm glowing? AKA Radio Red with her Scarlett mic on the show, empowerment's anthem she proudly plays in cool conversations where her creatives amaze. So you're all going to have to amaze. Okay, I set the scene. Dave Tabler, Dave, wave hello. Art history and photojournalism sage. Through relics and photos, his expertise turns the page. Appalachian Tales in a blog he founded. 375,000 readers. Cultural hub unbounded. Dave, did you like that? There
I
you
did.
go.
I drink to that.
There you go.
Water.
Andrea, that's fine. Anything, we don't know what's in the cup. Andrea Vallely, I'm hoping pronouncing your name right. Happiness expert and coach with glee. Look at that beautiful smile. She's with glee. Certified in joy. Positivity is her decree. Plus certifications in NLP and hypnosis too. A top 10 self-help blog from her for you. Andrea, what'd you think?
That was beautiful.
I'm
Very
glad.
impressed.
I'm glad. And now Dr. Martin Moore-Ede. Wave hello, Dr. Martin. Wisdom profound. Harvard's beacon where circadian rhythms abound. In the tick and the talk, his insights shine bright. A light healer's wisdom in the day and the night.
Very good.
Like, thank you. Thank you. I was wondering if you'd like that. And I'm calling this episode in honor of you, Dr. Martin, on the light of creativity. Their voices will soar. AKA Radio Show brings you wisdom to explore in red-hued realms where conversations flow. Read my lips, cool creativity on the go. What'd you all think? Do we get a plus, a thumbs up for this one?
I
Very
think
good.
so. I think
Okay.
so. Yeah.
Okay, good. I want to show you there's a new thing on the iOS. There we go. See, we have a confetti parade. Martin, look up. See the confetti? There you go. I can make things. I can make rain. I can make confetti. I can make light showers, all kinds of things. So I want to thank the three of you for being here. Show's over. No, I'm only joking. Okay, so it's time for us to find out who you really are. I'm going to ask each of you to please condense your entire life into 3 minutes, sort of on the clock. I'm going to put you, Dave Tabler. Am I saying it right? Tabler or Tabler? Tabler?
Actually, Tabler.
Tabler. Okay, I apologize. There you go. I
No
didn't
worries.
ask in advance. Okay, Dave
No.
Tabler is. I have to start over the poem all over again. No, I don't think we'll do that. So, Dave Tabler, I'm putting you on speaker view. Would you please do me the honor of introducing yourself fully, what you do, your creativity? Go for it, Dave, and welcome.
Thank you. It's great to be here, first of all. I am Dave Tabler. I'm a historian, photographer, and author. I have a journalism degree from the University of Maryland from about 1,000 years ago. And that came in very handy when it came time to do books on history. I started out my career doing photography on a book about Civil War relic collecting, which is part of how I know where Knoxville, Tennessee is. And I moved up to New York City, ready to take the city by storm, and bombed. And so I had to take a major detour in my writing and photography world. I finally got back on track. In 2006, I started an Appalachian history blog, which is still going today. And then about 14 years ago, I moved to Delaware, and I got very interested in the history here, it's a quirky little state, and I love it dearly. I started writing books about Delaware history about 4 years ago, and I'm on my third one, which will be coming out this fall. So I'm very excited about where this is taking me next in my career, in my second career, I should say. I allegedly retired 14 years ago, but I shifted gears is more how I look at it.
Lovely.
That's my elevator speech.
You actually have another minute if you want to add to that. I want to know photojournalism. What's the latest in the technology you use for photography, Dave? Can you share that with us?
Yes, I actually use a Samsung Galaxy Ultra for all my photographs. And that always surprises people because they're looking for the giant Nikon or Canon with the bazooka lens, and none of that is necessary except for very specialized purposes. If you're a wildlife photographer and you need to get that 600 millimeter lens out in to capture a bird landing in its nest, okay. But for 99% of photography today, the phone camera is astonishing. It's actually much better than the Nikon that I began my career with. And the thing I especially like about it is people don't think of you as photographing them. And so you can get marvelous shots that are unposed because people are like, well, he's just on his camera. He's just looking at his email or something. So it's really opened up a lot of freedom in that regard. And I love it dearly.
Good point. Very good point. Yes, the power of the cameras we hold in our hand on this thing called a mobile phone or a cell phone certainly have gained power over the years, and clarity and sharpness. And I know a lot of professionals like you are using them and enjoying them. One quick question, Dave. You're Appalachian. See, Dave told me I had to say Appalachian, not Appalachian. And I listened to you, Dave. I pronounced your name wrong, but I got Appalachian right. 50% for me. I'm batting half here. Dave, just quickly, how do you promote your blog? Because it's obviously for a certain segment of people who either live there or they're interested or they used to live there or they're writing about it. How do you find the people? I know you have 375,000, which is impressive. Quickly, How do you find those people? How do you reach them?
It's actually very similar to the way that you would promote a podcast. So you go onto LinkedIn, you go onto Twitter, you go onto Facebook. I used to use Tumblr when that was still viable. I used MySpace. I used MySpace back in the ancient days, but of course, that's come and gone. But things come and go. But it's very easy to promote online. I do not do any sort of mailing. I found that mass emails have dropped in their efficiency. They used to work beautifully 10 or 15 years ago. They're so clogged with spam that people they tune out.
Yep.
So social media is the way to go.
Thank you. That's what I wanted to know. People would be impressed with the total number of readers you have. And it's not magic. It's just persistence. It's clarity. It's consistency, right? It's
right.
Consistency.
Clarity of brand, clarity of promotion, steady promotion.
There we go. There's your creativity. I love the green mug, the green cup. Andrea, I'm putting you on speaker view. Would you please introduce yourself? Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Yeah, so I'm Andrea Vallely. I was born in Philadelphia, but when you're from Philadelphia, you don't say that. You tell everybody you're from Philly. So, I'm from Philly. I now live in South Florida. I've been in the Delray Beach area for 14 years, and I grew up coming here since I was a kid. My parents bought a condo here, so this was always our favorite place. It was a dream of mine to move here, so here I am. And I was in radio for years, and I started looking in the direction of, I guess today we call it self-help. I like to call it self-discovery because I don't really think we need any help. I really just think it's about discovering who we really are and learning how to use our system to its advantage, learning how to use our mind as our best friend rather than our worst enemy. So I went down the rabbit hole almost 2 decades ago and started learning about how the system works and why we're here and what is this all about, Alfie. And it fascinated me because I realized we're not brought up to understand this. We're brought up to believe that we live in an outside-in world, and most of us are at effect of the world because that's what we're taught to do and be. And when I learned that that wasn't true, that we're actually constantly creating every single moment, we are responsible for every experience that we have, not judging it, just knowing that our energy has everything to do with how we're showing up in the world. That fascinated me. And I found out that there were ways to not only increase our understanding of our experience, but direct it in a direction that was healthy and helpful. So I learned from who I thought were amazing teachers and the masters. My first teacher that I studied with, that I traveled to study with, was Dr. Robert Holden, who at the time, he's the creator of the Happiness Project, which at the time was the first scientifically proven method to increase your level of happiness. So I went to London to study with him. I went to New York. I followed him everywhere and learned so much from him. And from there, different things came into my world, like, tapping, hypnosis, past life regression, NLP, the three principles. So lots of sort of an amalgamation of a lot of different understandings, which brought together what I do today, which is coaching. And we work with businesses, and we also work with individuals. And I have a program for teens to help teens get out of their own way. So working with schools and organizations. And I love doing that because it's such a joy to see people have when it hits them, that they don't have to suffer, that they're not at the mercy of the world, that they can create from whatever state they're in, that their circumstances do not define who they actually are, that that's not their identity. And if they want to see something shift, I can help them do that. So that's what I do.
That's lovely. And I like the way you defined the word discovery, self-help, self-discovery, when you started speaking, Andrea. That was a bit of a revelation, because we are discovering, we are, in a way, we're self-contained. We are who we are, right? Martin is Martin, and Dave is Dave, and we're the collection of our own experiences, our own reactions to those experiences, our own feelings about those experiences, and our own feedback to ourselves about what we did with those experiences. So discovery, I like that word a lot, Andrea. Very, very interesting. And I applaud you for traveling all over the world to find where Dr. Holden was. That's very, very interesting. That's called commitment. That's called commitment. That's called commitment.
Yeah.
Andrea, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Dr. Martin Moore-Ede, would you please do me the honor of introducing yourself? I'm putting you on full screen speaker view. Everybody's going to see you, Martin. So you can give me one little tiny smile, and then let's hear, because you're our light doctor today. Martin, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. I'm delighted to be here, Bonnie. My life has been about cycles, and cycles of the circadian rhythms of the body, but also cycles of discovery and dealing with identifying major problems, the research it takes to figure out what it is, the development of solutions, and then bringing them back into the practical world. So I've been very much involved in that whole cyclical process, and then discovering new problems and going again. So my career shows that. I first got interested in the circadian rhythms of the body, which is the patterns of day and night, our sleep, hormones, everything else changing day and night. When I graduated out of medical school, I was heading towards being a surgeon. I got into a training program in surgery, found myself working those 36-hour-long shifts, back off, out for 12 hours of rest, back in for 36 and so forth, walking around like a zombie, couldn't remember the prescriptions I'd written and why I'd written them, nodding off in the operating room, et cetera, et cetera. Not just me, but everyone else. And I sort of took a detour out of surgery, came down to Harvard, did a PhD at Harvard on these rhythms of the body. And I was warned by people that the whole idea that the body had these circadian rhythms was really hokey stuff. It really wasn't serious science. I was warned to stay away from it. But I decided to really go after it. And I had a very productive time. After my PhD, I joined Harvard faculty as a professor. I was there for 23 years. Identified along the way the biological clock in the human brain that controls all these rhythms. Identified that it actually is synchronized by light coming in through the eyes. And then figured out, then the big problem was all the people in the world who work shifts around the clock, like I did back in the days when I was a surgeon, formed a consulting company to address that issue. We started working all over the world. We have developed offices in not only in the US, but also in Europe, in London, and Amsterdam, Osaka in Japan. We had offices in Chile, offices in India, Australia, elsewhere, all around the world, working with all the major corporations in mining, in aircraft, all the airlines, the big oil, every single one of the big oil companies, solving the problems of human performance, alertness, errors, and accidents that occur because people were fatigued. The problem of fatigue in the 24-hour workplace. So that I went from Harvard to building a consulting firm that solved the problems. And along the way, a major discovery came out about that light at night was causing cancer, particularly breast cancer in women, 50% more breast cancer in people who are exposed to light at night. The World Health Organization came out about this, and all my consulting clients, by that time, half the Fortune 500, said, Martin, what are we going to do? We can't shut off the lights at night. We can't stop working at night. Our oil refineries, our manufacturing, our railroads, everything else has to run around the clock. What do we do about it? And so I went back into the lab at this point in time and identified that it wasn't just light in general, but a very narrow band of blue wavelengths in the spectrum that was causing the problem. Once I understood what the problem was, I then set out about developing LEDs. And the problem is LED lights contain this blue, which screws us up. That's the big problem. LED lights are causing cancer, obesity, diabetes, heart disease, breast cancer, prostate cancer, etc. To solve that problem, I went and got into engineering, built a whole team, started a startup company, got capital and venture capital and so forth in there, and then developed new LEDs that didn't have this potent blue, but still provided very usable white light. We built that out. We then started, those lights were then installed in multiple companies. I sold that company and the technology onto the big lighting companies. And now I'm in the process of getting that out into the world, communicating. And one of the things I'm doing is writing a book. I've written a book. It's already on Substack. It's already on Psychology Today. Do blogs there, but now it's coming out in print. And that book is called The Light Doctor, and really addressing that. And for the general public to realize that the light you see is important to your health as the air you breathe, as the food you eat, as the water you drink. And no one really understands that. And that's the big mission now, getting that word out. So thanks for the opportunity for that pitch, because that's my today's mission.
You're welcome, the Light Doctor. I'm beyond impressed with your track record, with your career, with how I'm going to coin a phrase, commitment creativity or creative commitment, Dr. Martin Moore-Ede, because you've found that I'm going to say something corny, that shiny object, which was the blue light, right? And you said, I'm going to follow it. I'm going to track it. I'm going to investigate it. I'm going to figure out what's going on. I'm going to solve the problem. I'm going to come up with something better. Did I summarize that pretty well? I'm very impressed, very, very impressed. When I met you at the summit, I said, what is he doing here at the publicity summit? You're like an institution unto yourself, and the book is coming out. When will the book be out, Dr. Martin?
It'll be out later this spring. And so that's, it's in production now. So And that will be, be launching that. The lights now are going out and coming out in scale. There'll be, we've done, as I say, studies in 65 Fortune 500 companies, proven it works, proven it's healthy. It's now being mass produced, coming out actually later this month at a conference called Leducation, LED, education. And these lumen circadian blue lights are going out mass produced into the world. And so, yes, that's another one of my children out there.
I have a question for you. Do you ever sleep?
Oh yeah, and that's important. I sleep on a regular schedule. So I'm rigorous about schedule, and I get outside every day in the light because you've got to see daylight. We live indoors in this dim level of light.
The big white circle above me, if you're looking at my background here, is the light coming in at the top of the window. This was the front bedroom in the house when I moved in. I said, that is going to be my radio broadcasting office because I have a huge window looking out on the yard, the trees, the plants. The sun comes in at this time of the year, and sometimes it flashes across my face and you see me half here and half here. Anyway, so I'm doing the best I can. But thank you, Dr. Martin. Thank you, Dave, for the intro. Thank you, Andrea, for the intro. You're all fascinating to me, and I appreciate your time. And Martin, I'm going to ask you to call me Red, okay? And I'm Red on this show. So let's go to the part of the show where I've asked each of you to please send me a character quote from a fictional character in a movie or a TV show or a song lyric. And we've got at least one song lyric here tonight. And you're going to relate it, take about 2 minutes in your own words to our topic. So Dave Tabler, see, I'm learning Appalachian and Tabler. I'm catching on, give me a while. And the quote you have sent me is from the song My Favorite Things, 1959. Oh, are we going back in time, Dave? Rodgers and Hammerstein musical, The Sound of Music. It was introduced by Mary Martin playing Maria and Patricia Neway, N-E-W-A-Y, or Neway playing Mother Abbess. The song was ranked in 2004, which is a long time ago, number 64 on the American Film Institute's 100 Years, 100 Song Tunes in Cinema. It has been covered, Dave, by John Coltrane, who played a 14-minute version in E minor on an album in 1960. It became a jazz classic. He plays it in concerts. Jack Jones covered it on a Christmas album. Diana Ross and the Supremes covered it in their Merry Christmas album in 65. Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass covered it in 69. It was number 45 in the Billboard 100. Laurie Morgan covered it. Chicago had a Latin version of it on their album Chicago 33, Christmas Tree. God. And here's the latest. She was on the Oscars last night, Ariana Grande, in a dress that looked like it was going to swallow her up and take her off into the stratosphere. And she's blonde now. She did it in 2019. I don't know if she's old enough to do anything in 2019. Seven Rings interpolates the melody of My Favorite Things. The song topped the charts in 15 countries. Oh my, I thought you'd like the history, Dave. I do my work.
Wow. Yes.
And here is the quote, and we all love this. I can't wait to hear how this relates to your creativity. I won't sing. I'll ruin the show. Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens. We all want to sing it. Martin is ready to sing it. I can tell, but he's not sure. Martin, you're allowed to sing as long as I don't have to join you. Dave, I'm putting you back on speaker view. Would you please do me the honor of telling me, what does this have to do with your creativity, Dave?
Yeah, so that is the key word or the key phrase that tips everyone off that that's the song. And if you're a baby boomer or older, you immediately start singing the rest of the song in your head, as testified by the lengthy list that you just read off to us. But the thing that really moves me about that song is that into each life, a little bit of rain must fall. And as a creative person, everybody who's an author or a photographer or a historian, for that matter, has had setbacks in their career. And those who come through to the other side realize that, okay, you're going to get a dog bite, you're going to get a bee sting, but just keep going. Don't worry about it. Focus on your mission. Think of your favorite things in the context of the song, and you'll pull through. And I think a lot of people really get sidelined because they don't have that focus and that discipline and that drive. It has to be all of those things. If you're driven but you don't have discipline, you'll go off the side of the road. If you're disciplined but you don't have drive, it has to be a combination of all of them. So that's why that is my favorite song, and I still hum it around the house to this day in my little basement here with the cinder block walls.
I think I'm going to be humming it. Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens. I'm not going to sing anymore because I'll ruin the show. There we go. Thank you for the earworm, Dave. Okay, I can tell how many days that's going to be going around in my head. Laura's going to email me, lovely, lanky Laura Legs. And she's, yeah, I met her, by the way, at a dance class in New York years ago. And we stayed friends all these years. And now she emails after she listens to the show every Monday. Let's go on. Andrea Vallely, you have picked us a very, very memorable quote from Dorothy Boyd, played by the lovely Renee Zellweger. The movie, of course, Jerry Maguire, 1996 American romantic dramedy, sports team, and comedy drama is hyphenated. Nothing else is comminated. It's written, produced, and directed by Cameron Crowe, starring, of course, Tom Cruise, Cuba Gooding Jr., Renee Zellweger, Regina King, who was a presenter last night. I did watch the Oscars. Produced in part by The Simpsons producer James L. Brooks, which is very interesting, inspired by sports legend Lee Steinberg, who was a technical consultant on the crew, and his client Tim McDonald during the 1993 NFL free agency. There was a memo, 28-page memo distributed by Disney at Disney in 1991, written by Jeffrey Katzenberg, provided the inspiration for the film, and the whole story of how he's Dorothy Boyd's working in the office, who's going to come with me when Jerry starts his own agency, and she does, and they fall in love, and then they break up, and then he met. All right, here's the 5-word quote Andrea has selected. You had me at hello. What does this have to do with your creativity, Andrea? Go ahead.
Oh, I just love it. You know when you know. And to me, that's what it means. You know, you don't have to have a long conversation with someone. We feel each other's energy. And I have had so many experiences in my life when I just knew something, like you brought it up in the beginning, Robert Holden. It was like this, an email came across from Hay House. I didn't even know how I signed up for it or where it came from, but I saw the email. It was happiness coach. And I said, I need to be there. That's me. That's what I want to do. I mean, it was just one of those, I knew it, and it was many experiences. The moment I met my husband, I knew it. There was no question in my mind. That was it. And I've had so many experiences in my life where one of my best friends, and she's probably about 25 years younger than me. The moment I met her, it was like, we locked eyes it was a business, meeting. And the second I saw her, it was so crazy. I'm like, nope, she's my girl. There are people that you meet in your life where you just know, you just connect. There's just something that you can't explain. And I love that. That's being in the flow of the universe. That's, allowing yourself to feel and connect with energy. So that quote just means so much to me, because you don't need words. It's not about the words, it's about a feeling. So that quote just really says, it's like when you just know something, that's what it means to me.
You know that you know. I'm reflecting as you're speaking, Andrea, about how I got started in radio, and I was doing some guest appearance. I had my own 4 TV shows on public access on Long Island. I'm a glutton. I don't just, I have 55 radio series and 4 TV series. I don't just stop. So you had me at hello. So I was a guest panelist, and I was in a way the comic relief on a show that was doing some local politics on Long Island. And I would always say something not really funny, but witty, shall we say, when everybody was being very serious. And there I was. And one of the crew members at the TV station, one of the crew members was the general manager of WGBB AM 1240, the oldest AM radio station on Long Island. And she started calling me. She got my phone number and said, would you come out and host a radio show? My Friday drive time show host is canceled on me at the last minute. Her name was Joey. And I said, Joey, there's 8 inches of snow on the ground. I'm typically 25 minutes away from you. It's an hour and a half. I drive a sports car. It doesn't go 3 blocks without fishtailing in a 360 circle because my tires don't like the snow. I'm sorry, I can't do it. Then next week she called me again. I said, Joey, we have to stop talking like this. I can't come in a snowstorm in a sports car and drive an hour and a half when you got a show in 40. Finally, she said, come out here when the snow stops. Bring your calendar. So I went, and she had another host who I knew from TV as well. And she said, okay, Bonnie, my regular name. She said, I'm giving you a Monday night show on your own. I'm giving you a Thursday night show to co-host with somebody named Larry, who I knew got me started in TV. And so I ended up with 2 radio shows just like that. But you had me at hello, sitting in a studio with an engineer on the other side of the glass and a big microphone in front of me. And I said, oh my God, you had me at hello. I want to do this. And that was 1998. And here we are, 2024, and 55 business shows later, and a whole bunch of shows, and the show my own. And so yes, the hello. Very, very well put, Andrea. You brought back a lot of thoughts to me. Thank you so much. Let's move on, Dr. Martin. Moore-Ede, you have picked a quote from, oh, wow. You picked a song I think goes way, way back in time, but according to my research, it's 1970. The song was written and performed by Melanie, if anybody remembers her. What have they done to my song, Ma? It was co-written by H.M. Saffer II, an American painter and musician who worked for Warner Brothers Productions. He wasn't a musician. It's the B-side of Melanie's Ruby Tuesday single, and it reached number 39 in the UK. Ray Charles released a cover of it. Nina Simone did a cover. The New Seekers did a cover. Billy Joe Spears did a cover. And it was used in a 1970s commercial for soap. I want to tell you that, Martin. Look what they've done to my Lifebuoy soap. In 1980s, it was a jingle for Ramada Inn. Look what they've done to Ramada. It was used for a cereal commercial. Look what they've done to my oatmeal. And Miley Cyrus released a video in 2012. I didn't know she was that old, of her acoustic version. And Miley and Melanie did a duet at The Peace Will Come, according to plan, in 2015. Here's the line. Everybody listen up. Look what they've done to my brain, Ma. Look what they've done to my brain. Well, they picked it like a chicken bone, and I think I'm half insane. Ma, look what they've done to my song. Oh, Martin, rescue me, please. What does this have to do with your creativity? I'm almost scared. Go ahead.
Well, this song has a great emotional impact for me. I had just been a year, I told you, doing surgery, residency, working these 36-hour-long shifts under bright fluorescent lights. I was, zapped by that. And I had decided to take that detour to Harvard, and I won a place on the graduate program at Harvard Medical School. And I drove down there for the first time, stopped at Harvard Square, arrived in this cafe, well-known cafe in Harvard Square, and this was playing in the background, right? So this was just, it was the symbol that I had arrived. I was here at Harvard for the first time, and it's all about what light does to the brain, right? It screws it up. It makes it like a chicken bone. It makes you half insane. Mental illness and everything else is triggered by the wrong light at night. So and I actually use that quote in my book, The Light Doctor. I got the rights to it. Gosh, it takes a year and a half to get rights from Melanie. It's staggering what the effort is to get rights to actually, be able to reproduce it in your book, but I did. But no, it's got that emotional connection from the first time. It's one of those songs that takes you back to a critical time in your life. I just arrived at Harvard, the first time in my life. A new career was just starting. It was just, it takes me back there. Thank
you very much. I just did the math. It was 54 years ago, that song, 1970. I thought, wow, that's a long time ago. We won't do any more with that. Thank you to the 3 of you for picking your quotes. I appreciate it. Now we're going to go to the part of the show where you've each sent me 4 discussion statements on creativity. And I'm looking at the clock. We're running a little bit long here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read 1 or 2 statements from each of you and then ask you to unpack it, or them. Dave, I'm combining your statements number 1 and 2. Don't have to look for them. I will read them for you. And take about 2 minutes and explain what they have to do with your creativity. I think this will be really good. And I know that Andrea and Dr. Martin will appreciate what you're going to say, Dave. So Dave says, I look to shine a light on talents and contributions of the scoffed at and unappreciated. And he adds in statement 2, I prefer to work with younger developing talent or mid-career talent who need a redirect, who've lost footing, rather than those who've already achieved stardom. That's impactful, Dave. Take 2 minutes if you can and unpack this for us, please. Go ahead.
So to the first point, I'm working on a story in my upcoming book about an airport, the first airport that was built in Delaware. And the traditional historical discussion of that would be, first they purchased X number of acres, and then the Air Force came in and bulldozed this, and they did that. And that's fine, that's well and good. But I was curious, what happens to the people that lived on that land? They had a square mile that had to be overtaken. And that square mile of land had an ancient cemetery on it. It had schools, it had a community building. And I thought, what the hell happened to all those people? So I'm quite interested in sort of seeing the reverse, the telescope in reverse. I want to look at the close-up view on the ground. And I found a wonderful story. I don't know about wonderful, but a touching story about the very last couple that sold their land for the airport. Everyone else had caved in and taken whatever they had been offered. And this couple said, no, this is our ancestral land. All of our forebears are buried here. This is where our children are being raised. We do not want to move. So finally, the Air Force came in and just brought bulldozers in and pushed their house over and said, okay, what would you like us to give you now? I mean, it was quite brutal, but this was wartime. This was during World War II. And so eminent domain was just an accepted thing. But I think far too few histories look at the human results. We spend a lot of time, I mean historians, spend a lot of time looking at battles and treaties and dates and so forth. But there's a tremendous human cost, toll, involvement in history. We forget that history is about people just like ourselves, except they lived in a prior era. Let's see, what was the second question? Developing people. Yes.
Yes.
So obviously, as someone who's been running a blog now for 15 years, I have a lot of writers that approach me, and I find that people who are already very well known have their own point of view that may or may not gel with what I'm trying to do. And so they just look at me as, well, you've got this blog, I'm famous, you should be happy to be working with me. Whereas younger writers are excited, they're maybe they're winning their spurs, they're trying to find their voice. I really enjoy being an editor now. I've been a writer for a long, long time, but I also enjoy being an editor and helping develop young talent and helping them find that voice. That's a really thrilling aspect of writing.
Thank you very much. And your point is very well taken. In my business radio shows, I found out that the higher up the food chain in corporate echelon, shall we say, the higher up that ladder, the less likely they would commit to being on a show, even though they did, and the less likely they were willing to, shall we say, follow my format rather than whatever they wanted to do or say. So when people say, oh, they bring me a show, a business will come to me and say, produce and host the show, and we're going to get the tippy top executives, the tippy top people in the field. And I say, don't, because they're not going to be amenable. They want a one-on-one interview. They want to be the star. They want to talk for 20 or 30, which is fine. They're brilliant people. But my calling card is roundtables like this today, where we hear Dave and we hear Andrea and we hear Martin and we share ideas. That's what I do. And not everybody is willing to change this is what I need to do. Damn it. You all know that. You know that, Dave. So I think you understand. So thank you for that. Very, very interesting. I'm going to move along. Andrea Vallely, I'm going to your statement number 3. I'll read it for you and take about 2 minutes and unpack. You say creativity is tapping into your inner genius and expressing that nudge in the world. I want you to expand on that. You say an example is your blog. When you first began writing, you wrote from the heart. You had no idea anyone was reading it, nor did you care. And it turned out people were reading it and it was recognized. Andrea, what was that eureka moment when you found out, yeah, people are reading my stuff? Andrea, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I got an email from the Institute for Psychology of Eating. That's who it was from. And they said, we want to recognize your blog. They put me in the top 10 alongside Psychology Today and Marianne Williamson. And I was like, huh? I mean, I just had no clue that anybody was paying attention to it. So that was my moment. But what it really said to me was, and it's funny because the first line of the first blog that I wrote was, if you build it, they will come. And that's controversial. I don't know if those are the exact words. Some people say it's
It's he will come. If you build,
So that
yes,
he
he
come.
will come. Yes, it was Chulis Joe Jackson. Yes.
But I just had this feeling that, just follow your heart, do what your heart says to do, don't second guess yourself, just go with what feels right. So that's why I call that your inner genius, because there's something inside of us that wants to be birthed, that wants to be in the world. And we all have it. And it's a matter of making that more important than anything else, because we can get very easily sidetracked by the rules that we grew up with, or, what we learned from our family or our colleagues, or those kinds of things. They can affect us greatly, and they can actually stop us in our tracks from being, doing, and having what it is that we really want. So we have this inner genius that when we listen to it, that's where we make magic in the world. So to me, that's being creative, is really listening to your calling.
I like that. I like that a lot. Yes, sometimes we just know what we think we need to do. And sometimes we do get acknowledged, and sometimes we get shot down. And I know that creativity means, and I think you can all relate to this probably, creativity means growing a little bit of a thick skin. Not everybody will like or agree with what, right, Dave? Will agree with what you do, or they will not just be quiet. If you don't have anything nice to say to somebody, don't say, well, people today are very vocal. Look at social media. Duh. I didn't look at the streams on social during the Oscars last night, but we had a little Oscar party here, and we were saying, look at that dress, my God. But I wasn't going to post it on Twitter, although I used to follow those. Anyway, my point is that you have to accept that when you're going to do your inner genius, Andrea, you might not like the feedback. And the question is, how hard do you look for it? How hard do you take it? And do you care? Andrea said, don't care. Just do what you need to do. There you go. Okay, let's move on. Thank you, Andrea. That was lovely. Dr. Martin Moore-Ede, I'm going to read your statement number 1. Let's see if you can unpack this for me. You say creativity is boosted when our circadian clocks are in sync with the outside natural world and with each other. And you say you get outside for a walk every morning, exposed to bright, sky blue, rich light, then boost indoor blue light content with circadian lighting during the rest of the day. And then you spend time in after the sunset using only zero blue light. You get a regular schedule of sleep in a pitch dark room. It boosts your alertness, your productivity, your creativity, and your good health. Take 3 minutes. Martin, what does this all mean, please?
Well, for 10,000 generations of human existence, our ancestors lived under bright daylight during the day. They weren't hanging around inside, and they slept in the dark at night. Maybe they had candles, maybe they had wood fires, but the very dim light and no blue whatsoever in, by the way, candles or fire or that type of light. We now know that, in fact, we've transitioned when Thomas Edison invented the light bulb. What it's done is bring us indoors. People spend, on average, more than 90% of their time indoors. And the light levels indoors are so much lower, 100 to 1,000 times less than daylight outside. So we're living during the daytime in this very dim type of light existence. And then during the evening hours, we switch on the lights, and those lights are 100 to 1,000 times brighter than the brightest moonlight outside. So what we've done is taken away that natural contrast of day and night that actually stimulates our brains, ensures our sleep, boosts our health. And the science shows that the more time you spend outside in the daytime, the longer you'll live, the less heart disease you have, the less diabetes you have, because of the effects, the healing effects of sunlight, huge amounts of healing in the various colors in the sunlight spectrum. Now, in the nighttime, the more light you see at night, the sooner you die. The 30% reduction in lifespan, people just die years earlier if they are, have the lights on. An amazing number of people sleep when the light's on. So creativity is one of the things that comes out of this. Also, good health comes out of this. Alertness comes out of this. Good quality sleep. All of those are the physiological things that are essential for creativity. And I need to be creative. So I'm really rigorous about that. I make sure that I'm exposed to bright daylight during the daylight. I make sure I'm near a window. People, by the way, are far more productive and sleep better at night if they're in an office by the window, as opposed to one of those cubicles inside. And what we've done is taken away that natural daylight cycle. So that's really a central part of our health. And that business of light in the evenings, we still need light in the evenings, but we can take away that blue. We can have white light that is zero in blue, and therefore our brains and our eyes do not detect it as though it's a signal that it's daytime outside. So that is critical. That's part of the key discovery. So boosting the indoor blue light. If you have to be indoors, have light that's rich in blue during the day. If you have to use the lights at night, have lights that are zero blue. And that's been, one of the key inventions and discoveries here. But oh my God, is it difficult to deal with, because the Department of Energy and everyone else is trying to put LED lights everywhere. We've banned incandescents, which are relatively low in blue. We've banned fluorescents. We've banned halogen. The only things you can buy in the store are the LED lights. And those blue pump LED lights, that's the technology that makes it so efficient. The blue pump, blue spike there are so harmful to health. And we got to reverse that. So we got $2.5 trillion worth of lights in the world that need to be replaced. So I've got a few things to do before I
You
quit this
certainly
coil.
do. I hope you have a good night's sleep. There you go. We have time. We have about 7 minutes left. Andrea, I want to just read one more of your statements. I think the gentlemen who are sharing the panel with us will appreciate this. Andrea says, I'm going to quote you directly. I am creative by being open to hacking my life rather than following the trends. I do things that feel good rather than following what's popular or how others do it. I hack my life with simplicity. I don't advertise. I don't check analytics. I don't follow a posting schedule. I only post when I'm inspired, and it is most days, and has been a wonderful avenue of expression without having anything on it. Andrea, just 2 minutes. That's all we've got, because I've got other things to do. Go ahead, Andrea. I thought this was interesting. The hacking. Talk to us.
Again, it comes from following your inner genius rather than listening to the masses. And there's nothing wrong with following people that are super successful. However, they were super successful for them. So to me, it makes so much more sense to maybe, take all the bits of wisdom that we get from other people, but then look at, well, how does this apply to me? How can I actually create something that works for me? So you're gaining information from what other people do. Like I do post every day because it feels good. There was a time when I didn't. I don't post on the weekends because I don't want to be on my computer on the weekends. I don't want to be on my phone on the weekends. But, during the week I work, but I prepare it in advance. I do things that feel good for me. I don't feel attached to it. If I don't get upset. It's not ruling my life. I do things when I feel like sharing. So for instance, if I'm learning something feels good to me, something that I want to put out into the world, I put it out because I feel comfortable putting out in the world rather than feeling pushed to do something. And I truly believe that the more that we follow our own inner guidance and our own inner wisdom and stay focused on what's important to us, the world is our mirror. So the world has to oblige. It must come back to us. When we're passionate and we do what feels good, that passion is the greatest energy that we could ever have. And our time is so much it's used so much more efficiently and effectively when we're coming from passion rather than coming from gotta do. So that's what that means to me.
Thank you.
When we're really effective, it's all about the energy around us rather than the action that we're taking. It's what's behind the action. Is there
Thank
passion?
you. I play Wordle, Connections, which is the New York Times, 4 groups of words together, and Blossom with 4 other people, and we share our results on text messages. And if I miss a day, I feel terrible. And I realized I missed 2 days in the past 2 weeks, and I stopped punishing myself, Andrea, because I do. But I'm keeping a list of every Wordle word, and I'm keeping it alphabetically so I know what not to pick. Again, if anybody isn't playing Wordle, go find it. Wordle. It's a free word game, and it gets your brain really, really going. So I was thinking of that. I've hacked my life to play these games. Thank you very much. I have some music and history trivia to share with you, and then we'll close the show. Today's March 11th. on this day in 1970, The Fifth Dimension, everybody remember them? Won Record of the Year Grammy for Aquarius, Let the Sunshine In. Everybody remember that? From Hair. On this day, Blood, Sweat, and Tears was nominated for 11 awards. They won 3, including Album of the Year. And on this day, Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young won Best New Artist. Thought you'd enjoy that. 1994, on this day in history, the Supremes received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. In 1997, 30 years, Martin, you'll appreciate this, 30 years after being admitted as a member of the Order of the British Empire, MBE, Paul McCartney was knighted by Queen Elizabeth II for his services to popular music. In 2008, on this day, Jennifer Lopez, J-Lo, and Mark Anthony's newborn twins, Maximilian David and Emmy Maribel, made their public debut in People magazine. The photo was sold for $6 million. The most expensive celebrity photo ever taken at the time. And on this day in 2018, American Idol, which was 15 years on Fox, came to ABC 2 years later with Katy Perry, Lionel Richie, and Luke Bryan. Celebrities, today is the birthday of Bobby McFerrin. You all might remember, Don't Worry, Be Happy. 1988, he hit #1, 10-time Grammy winner. Happy birthday. Cheryl Lynn, you might not remember a song called Got to Be Real. It was a disco hit in 1978. I was teaching disco with a dance partner in Eugene, Oregon, and I remember that song. Her first professional job was a backing vocalist for the musical drama The Wiz. Very, very interesting. Today, in 1992, Austin Swift was born. You may know the name Swift. He's 32 today. He's Taylor Swift's younger brother. He's a freelance photographer, Dave Tabler. I thought you'd like to know that. He has over 600,000 followers on Instagram. He went to the University of Notre Dame, and his photos have been in People and Rolling Stone magazines. And the song from Taylor, God Smiles on My Little Brother, Inside and Out, He's Better Than I Am. Those were her lyrics in The Best Day. I've got 3 minutes left. Lawrence Welk was born today. Anybody remember? The band leader of the easy listening Champagne music show, Lawrence Welk, 1945 to 82. I thought he was Canadian. He's U.S. His father scraped together money from a farming job and bought Lawrence an accordion. He was leading bands at the age of 21 and had his own show on TV for over 20 years. And here's some surprise birthdays. TikTok. Rachel Brockman, you've never heard of her. She's 19 today. David, I want you to send her a happy birthday. She only has 2.9 million followers. She does lip sync and hand dance videos, I want to tell you, and she has over 112 million likes. Happy birthday, Rachel. We have on YouTube a gentleman named Joogie, Joogie. He's 29. Andrea, he only has 1.5 million followers. I feel very badly for him. He's a comedic gaming commentator. Okay. And on Instagram, we have a young lady named Alana, Alahna, Ly. She's 24. She only has 1.3 million followers. She's a singer and songwriter of covers and original songs. And one of her songs is Erase Me Out of Your Phone. I just wanted you to know that. She has Erase Me Out Your Phone. She has 100 million views on a video of her song called So Lit. Today, March 11th, it's National Button Week. It's National Oatmeal Nut Waffles Day. I have to go. It's National Johnny Appleseed Day, Napping Day, Dream Day, and Promposal Day. Invite somebody to the prom, and it's Wash Your Nose Day. I didn't like that. Okay, I have a top 10 tip for Barbie. This was from 2014 from my radio show notes. She didn't win much last night, but she was present at the Oscars. Aspire to be Barbie. The biatch has everything. Okay, let's do the closing now. All right, I saved my notes. Life is short. Break the rules, right, Martin? Forgive quickly. Kiss slowly. Yeah, don't forgive that slowly. Kiss slowly, definitely. Love truly. Laugh uncontrollably. Everybody join me in a laugh. 1, 2, 3. Not bad. Never regret anything that made you smile. Here we go. Work like you don't need the money because nobody else really cares. Dance like no one's watching. When I danced, they watched. Sing like nobody's listening. I tried not to sing. You made me, Dave. Love like you've never been hurt. We all have. Get over it. Learn to love again. The heart will regenerate. Let it go. Money talks. Chocolate sings. La. And last but not least, thank you for turning me on. I stole that line from another host 20 years ago. Say thank you to Jordan, my engineer. Wave goodbye to LinkedIn. Wave goodbye to Facebook. Wave goodbye to YouTube. Radio Red signing off. Don't go away, guest. Jordan, are we out?
All clear. Great show.